over. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it over to Juan.
Thank you, Miki. Thank you everyone for being here. As Miki said, my name is Juan Carlos Rosales, Junior Investment Officer for Sets Finance. I'm along Miki running this program, and we will show to you a couple of things which might be of your interest for this grant program. We're going to be talking about a little bit about Sets Finance, about the program overview. We're going to be speaking about eligibility, requirements, how the application goes, some details maybe on income classifications. And finally, if you have any questions about the process, we will be happy to hear them out. So let's move, Vicky, with overview of what we do. As you might know, we are Touch Finance. We are a nonprofit based in Aurora, Colorado, here in Aurora. And our goal is basically to support self-sufficiency, right? We focus on assisting refugees, immigrants, underserved communities, and anyone who wants basically a loan, a business loan to start up their business, uh, we need some help with some expenses, some investments in their business. We can help you out with this. We can offer whether interest-based loans or Islamic compliant loans. What is the main difference is that Islamic compliant loans, they're structured in a way that they do not consider interest, they only do fees, right? So that's the difference. Basically, small business loans are for interest and Islamic compliant or murabajas are for fees. We also do offer technical assistance. We offer people you need some help with their business plans, projections, marketing, QuickBooks, or anything regarding your business, basically anything on business support. We're happy to assist you with this. Cost free. We won't charge you for this. It's free. Thank you, Miki. So let's move with the next slide, which is basically the overview of this program. This program is provided by OEDIT. OEDIT is a Colorado Office of Economic Development and International Trade. This funding comes from OEDIT, and we're managing this program. We will be offering 71 grants. Each of them are worth $5,000, and this will be available for small business owners here in Colorado. Super important detail, when is this application going live? This is going to be Wednesday, May 1st at 10 a.m. And the application will close on Friday, May 3rd at 5 p.m. That means that we will not be accepting any applications before that date, before May 1st or after May 3rd. So we're gonna have a window of 3 days where you can submit your applications. We will talk about the link. The application is very simple with just a few requirements. How are we gonna choose the awardees? Is gonna be based on low income applicants on a first come, first serve, right? That means that we will recommend you to please apply on Wednesday. If you wait until Friday, it's a first come, first serve, right? So please mark the dates on your calendars. Please make sure you have the documents ready. We'll go to the documents as well just in a while. So really important, first come, first serve, and low income applicants. When are we planning to disperse these grants? By early June. That means that we're gonna have around 4 to 5 weeks to work through all the applications, store the data, make sure applicants are eligible, and we're planning to disperse through ACH transfers the first week of June. We have FAQ. We have a website inside Sets Finance, inside our website, where you can go and you will see all the details regarding this program. We also have an FAQ, so you can go to there and see all the questions. If you have any questions, you can just call us or you can just send an email. Eligibility, which is really, really important. This is a program focused on businesses, which means the applicants must have a business, number one. The business must be registered with the Secretary of State, and the business must be in good standing at the time of submission, right? If you apply for the loan for the grant and you don't have a business, or your business isn't registered, you will be ineligible, right? This business must be located in Denver, in Colorado. Primary activities must be in Colorado, and the majority of employees must live and operate in Colorado. Other restriction, we are looking for only for-profits, right? That means that nonprofits will not be eligible to get this grant. These for-profits should not have more than 25 full-time equivalent employees, or actually, and generate no more than $2 million in gross annual revenue in the preceding fiscal year, right? So for-profit, no more than 25 full-time equivalent employees, and generate no more than $2 million in gross annual revenue. So how are we classifying and how do we consider a business as underserved? These are some, as you can see on this slide, a couple of classifications according to OEDIT. What is an underserved small business is whether the individual or the owner of the applicant is considered or identified as being part of an ethnic or racial minority group, are considered within the LGBTQ plus communities. They are veterans. They reside in rural counties. They are refugees or immigrants, or they're women, or they identify with a disability, or they are considered low income status according to the most recent AGI, 2022 or 2023. So if you fall inside any of these categories, you are an underserved small business, right? That means that these classifications, along with the things that we saw on top, like being registered, being in good standing, no more than 25 full-time equivalent employees, they all together make you eligible for the grant program. That means that if you are a for-profit and have less than 25 full-time equivalent employees, but you are not part of these underserved categories, you wouldn't be eligible for this loan, for this grant, sorry. So why? Let's talk about the prioritization of this grant program. We're focusing on low income. And the reason why is because this program is aligned with what we do at SETS Finance. We're focused on supporting underserved business owners. And the reason why is that many marginalized business owners have not been able to access grant funds programs. And that's the reason why we're focusing on low income. We also believe that $5,000, which is the grant program, well, that's what it's worth, each grant program, can make a significant impact on these businesses. The application is going to be really simple, and we will take a look at it. We will be using HUD data published on the HUD data website for classifications. So we'll go with extremely low, very low, and low. And finally, we will be awarding these on a first come, first serve, right? So it's really important that people prioritize filling out this form Wednesday morning. We're going to start at 10 a.m. So please put that on your calendars, use an alarm, make sure that you submit your documents and submit the application by Wednesday morning. This is the selection process. So application opens Wednesday at 10 a.m. and will close on Friday, May 3rd at 5 p.m. We'll be receiving applications. These applications will, you will need to include your tax returns, right? So we're offering applicants two ways to attach documents. You can attach them on the grant form. You will have a space where you can attach these forms, or you can leave them at the office. We will be opening, as usual, but we will only be receiving documents from Wednesday, May 1st at 10 a.m. up to Friday, May 3rd, right? So if you submit your application during that window, but you do not submit the tax returns, that will be considered unfinished application basically, and you wouldn't be eligible. So once we have closed that window, we will take a couple of weeks to review all applications, and we will be sorting those applications out by income status and then by time submitted, which is basically first come, first serve. We will be looking at the income status. We will be looking at how much money you made last year, basically income. We will be looking also at business ownership. And we will also be looking at if your business is registered and in good standing with the Secretary of State, right? And we will get to these details a little bit later on. Once we have 71 applications, which are, I will call them like pre-awardees, we will need to verify a little bit more documents. So we will be submitting via DocuSign, which is a software we use to send forms and people are able to sign digitally. We'll be requesting for some additional documents. And once we have that list and people were actually did submit all the required documents, we will be making those awards and making those transfers probably the first week of June. You will all receive a notification of this, whether you received the award or you did not receive the award, you will be receiving an email about this. Awardees, right? Once you are considered a pre-awardee and you are on that list, we'll be asking applicants a couple of documents. We're going to be asking for a W-9 form, which is really important, a copy of your unexpired ID, and a most recent bank statement or a voided check. Why are we asking for this? W-9, because we need to make sure that you guys are okay with this, and this is really important. These might count as income for tax purposes, right? And we need you to be aware of this. You will receive a 1099 form on quarter of January or February of 2025, where as a record of income, we will submit in this document. We're going to need to see an ID as well. Why? Because we want to make sure that you are actually the owner of the business, and a bank statement or a voided check. Why are we asking for this? Because we're going to make an ACH transfer, right? So we need to make sure we have the right information on your bank statements in order for us to make that transfer, right? So that's the main reason. W-9 forms, copy of an expired ID, and most recent bank statement or a voided check. We're not going to look at transactions. We just want to make sure that we have the right account information and the right owner, right?
Great. I think, Juan, I think I'm going to take over. And if
Yes,
you can
yes,
monitor
thank
the
you.
chat, I have seen a few questions come in that I did not address because we'll be addressing it here. Or there's one or two that are a little bit larger that we can add we can talk at the end. One quick note on this slide that did not add: we do reserve the right if there's other things that come up as in evaluating your application that we have questions, like we need to see a verification that you filed the taxes you submitted or something like that. We do reserve that right just to be able to request additional information to confirm the information you submitted. But for most people, we anticipate this will be all that you will need to submit if you have been selected. So at a very high level first, before I start, so we're going to go through the application and the questions. This is on our website, which I'll show you, and we'll have a couple different resources available, including in a couple different languages that can hopefully address all of that. But before I do that, let me, what was the question? Sorry, let me just quickly say to clarify, this is largely, someone asked if there's going to be other questions around, problem solved or anything like that. This is almost entirely based on income. Just it is, and I will get into that. And if you guys have additional questions, we can get into even more detail. But that is the primary driver. And we've tried very hard to actually reduce other requirements so that we make sure those businesses that haven't had access in the past to the grant opportunities can get this. So basically, You do need 2022 or 2023 tax returns. It should be the latest returns that you have filed, but we know a lot of people have not yet filed 2023. It does, though, need to have your business on it. So a couple questions that have come up. If you started this year, and if you were not in you need to basically have been in operation. It will show on your taxes no later than December 31st of 2023. So that is a requirement. You can, if you are a sole proprietor and have not registered yet, but it was on your taxes, you can still register. So we're not requiring that you were registered before December 31st, but we are requiring that it shows on your taxes. So you could still be a fairly early startup, but you can't have started just the last month or so. If you have, I know another question I've seen a couple times. If you have, do not have 2023 taxes yet, and do have 2022, but your business is not on your 2022, I would recommend that you will not be able to use that 2022. You do still have a little bit of time to complete and file your taxes. So that may be an option. Especially if you think you're a good candidate for this, which I'll go through in a second. So your tax returns, we need the 1040, and that's to verify your income and dependent numbers. And then we need either your Schedule C, which is part of your personal taxes, or your Schedule K1, whichever one you file. If you file separate business tax returns, that K1 is in that, and that's what we need. We don't need all of your business taxes, but we need that schedule so that we can verify your business ownership. So that's on the taxes. Again, you will be able to submit these either in the application or bring it into our office. The second thing you need to make sure that you do before applying is that you're in good standing with the Secretary of State. We are not requiring that you actually submit the certificate of good standing. So you do not need to download that and have that ready at 10 a.m. We will verify. But you do need to make sure before 10 a.m. that you are in good standing. If you do not know if you're in good standing or you are not registered, we are actually doing a registration or a webinar at 3 p.m. today that I can send you a link for, and we'll also have that available on our website. So if you're not registered, that is for folks who filed taxes as a sole proprietorship and has not registered their business, which is not absolutely required. Although it is generally good practice, even if you're a sole proprietor, to have your business registered. So if you are not registered but do have a business that operated last year, you can register. Okay, so now I'm actually going to go into the application. All of our grant questions are listed on the grant webpage, and I'll show you how to get there so you can get there after. And then I'm actually going to go through the application just so you can see. It's quite simple. It is quite simple. Okay, can you guys see our website? Juan, can you see the website?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. And I will be switching. So if anybody, if I switch and it doesn't show, please let me know immediately. Okay, so this is our homepage. This is where the link to the grant will be at 10 a.m. right here. Although this will be to the English version, this little button, and I'll show you a couple ways you can get to the non-English versions and what languages we're doing. You will also get an email with the links, and the email should include the different languages. So you can come here, or you can wait for your email, and we'll send that out. Make sure you get that right at 10. And then there will also be links to or you could bookmark this, especially if you're not English, you want to complete it. This will also have the links to all the different, the application in the different languages. So right now, this is our grant program page. It's pretty simple. And if you scroll down, actually, the first thing I wanted to show you is there is this that does offer automatic translations in many different languages for anything on the website. We also are making sure we're having a verified translation in a few select languages. But for right now, for anything that you need, you can change this to, there's many languages. If there's a language that you need it translated into that is not here, let us know and we can actually turn that on. So here is the grant application questions. And we're going to go through the real thing in a second. But they're pretty simple. And we're aiming to also have a video with walking through the actual application in a couple different languages too. That won't be posted until the end of this week when it's closer to the application. But as you'll see, it's a very simple application. We've tried very hard to do that. Okay, so now I'm going to go through the application itself. Okay, so this first part is just a basic introduction, saying that we, in partnership and as funded through OEDIT, have made this grant funding available to underserved businesses in Colorado. This is actually quite an unusual program for us. So we are trying to, we have not, even just this webinar is something that's new for us. So, but we really had this opportunity to provide this program through OEDIT and thought that we know that there's a lot of businesses who have been left out of a lot of the previous support programs, and we really wanted to be able to offer this support for them. So really aiming to address capital accessibility disparities for startup and existing small businesses, aiming to promote economic development in the state with an emphasis on equity, diversity, and inclusion. Grants of $5,000 will be awarded to underserved small businesses based on eligibility criteria with a priority on low income status. After sorting for low income status, then they will be reviewed on a first come, first served basis until all grant funds are dispersed. And I will be going through exactly what the criteria are for low income. This will also, this is obviously not a live form yet, but this will have links as well as on our website on the grant page to these different languages: Amharic, Arabic, Burmese, Somali, Spanish, and Vietnamese. And this is based on both the clientele we serve as well as where we're based in Aurora, a lot of the business community, the biggest needs. Okay, so as you'll see, we first have contact information. This first section is just contact information. First name, and you can see anything with a star is required. Most fields here, because we did try to simplify, are required. First name, middle name, not required. Last name, home, street address, city, state of residence. This is completed as Colorado. If it's different, you can change it. Email, and we do ask you to retype your email. Be very, very, very careful that you type this correctly. This you may not be able to get. If we do not have your correct email, we may not be able to communicate with you, and you could lose out on getting the grant. It happens often that people mistype their emails, so make sure these are both the same. Phone number. So up until then, it's just all basic contact information. Then, is your business registered with the Colorado Secretary of State? Yeah, this answer must be yes. If it's no, A will verify it. So don't put the right answer, because we can check quite quickly if it's verified and in good standing. But this must be a yes in order to be eligible for this grant. Your state, you must primarily operate in Colorado. I think that's pretty much true for everyone here. But if you were to, so you shouldn't have to select, but if you were to choose other, that is ineligible. And again, we can verify these things if we have questions. What is the legal name of your business? The legal name must match with the Colorado Secretary of State database. That's how we'll know you're in good standing. So please be careful with, this is probably one of those things you want to make sure you double check ahead of time that you're matching it. Is your business for profit? This is only for profit businesses. So again, if this is a no, you're not eligible. The yes is you would be eligible. In your last tax return, did your business achieve sales of more than $2 million? Presumably that doesn't apply to the vast majority of folks who we've been advertising this to, but it does have to be smaller than sales of $2 million per year. And it does have to have fewer than 25 full-time employees. So the answer here is no in terms of being eligible. Does your business classify under the following activities? These are all, any one of these: lending, gambling, illegal federal business, which would be marijuana businesses, oil and gas, political or lobbying activities, indoctrinating religion or religious beliefs, speculative membership, investments, or grant packaging. I think this comes from OEDIT. I don't even know what all of that means, but if you are one of these, you know. So the correct answer here is no. Unless you're one of those, but you probably are not. And and we would be able to see that when we can be able to verify that. What is your annual income? Okay, so this is now where we're getting to a little bit that I want to make sure you know how to complete this. This should be match the tax returns you submit. So if you submit 2022, because this is how we'll verify, match your 2022. And I will show you exactly where to find this on the 1040 in a minute. But it is your adjusted gross income from your tax return. It is found on line 11 on your IRS form. And I'll show you a screenshot of that in a minute. How many individuals are you claiming as dependent on your most recent tax return? So I'll show you that also. You can determine that by counting the dependents listed on your income tax return on your 1040. And again, we'll walk through that in a second. Did you file the tax returns that you're submitting, again, your 2022 or 2023 forms, jointly with your spouse? Yes or no? If you did not, if you're married but you filed separately, put no. Most everybody, unless you submit it, the exact classification is married filing jointly. If you check that box, it's yes. Otherwise, it's no. Will you be submitting 2022 or 2023 tax returns? So you will tell us which. The income cutoffs are slightly different for each year. So this is important that it matches. They're not hugely different, but they are slightly different. So we'll be using that. You should be submitting, if you have filed your 2023, please submit your 2023. You may be able to, here is where you can attach. So you can drag and drop, or attach from your computer. So here you would go to local files and browse. Okay. And browse and file it. No matter where you have it, even if it's in a Dropbox or Google, well, if it's in Google Drive, I'd recommend you downloading it to your computer. You may be able to use this link, but you have to, but you'll browse or drag and drop is probably the easiest way for many of you. If you need help on that, let us know. We will be in the office, we will have some office hours to help people with this application, both prior to, and then the morning of. And I will talk about that at the end. So this is where you'll attach these forms, include your 1040 and your Schedule C or K1. You can drop those as separate files or all in one. You can also, if you do not have an electronic version of it or do not want to submit it through this process, you can, or have problems with the attachment, you can drop it off physically in our office. But that must be received by 5 p.m. on Friday. If you submit this at 10 a.m. and you are second in line, you're the second grant recipient we give, but you did not return your taxes by 5 p.m. on Friday, you will not get this grant. There's our address. Do you identify as one or more of the following? refugee, immigrant, having a disability, LGBTQ, veteran, member of a racial minority group, none of the above, or I do not wish to respond. If your income qualifies you because you are low income, you do not have to be one of these to be eligible. If you are not low income, you do have to be one of these from member of racial minority group or above. Any of these folks will qualify. So if you do not check, if you check none of the above and you have a high income, you are not eligible. But if you have a low income, which is the main driver of how we'll be select, this will not help you. We are not factoring this in beyond the eligibility. It will not, if you check all of these, you're not going to get precedence over somebody who has none. It's only based on income. What is your gender? Female, male, non-binary, I do not wish to respond. What is your country of origin? Please just type in the country where you were born. US if you were born here, and whatever country you were born in if you were not born here. And that's pretty much it. Then would you like to receive our newsletter? Yes, no, I already receive it. How did you hear about us? Just select whatever. There's a couple ones that you'll have to just name. If you select event, partner, or other, please just give us the name or details. Otherwise, that won't come up. And then this is important. The final two questions. Any additional information we need to know? This is not going to be used for eligibility or decision purposes. This is only to clarify. If you have an unusual situation that you need to clarify, put it in here. For most business officers, business owners, you will leave this blank. Do not waste time telling us about how much you need this grant or what you're using it for. You can leave this blank unless there's something that you need to clarify about what you've attached or what your answers are above. Like particularly on your taxes, there's really the only thing you might need to clarify. So yes, likely for 99% of you, you should leave this empty. But we just wanted a spot in case there was something we needed to know that you could provide that. And then the final piece is I certify that the above information is correct to the best of my knowledge. I authorize SEDS Finance to make inquiries as necessary to verify the accuracy of the reported and submitted information presented by me. Provide your signature by typing your full legal name below. So you're just certifying that this is all accurate. I see we've been getting a lot of questions. I'm going to go back to a couple more things and then we'll answer some of these questions. But we have tried really hard to make this as simple as possible and be pretty easy to do. Okay, I'm going to go back to my presentation to just show you a few things. Juan, is there any questions I should address right now?
No, right now, Mickey. I'm working on that through the chat.
Excellent. Okay. So just wanted to clarify the one question that we know may be that we want you to make sure you're ready to answer correctly. Most of the rest of this is pretty easy. Is your income level? We're going to be classifying your income status, and that's based on two factors: household size and adjusted gross income. So the first is household size. So the way that we will be looking at this, but we're going to be verifying this when we review your application. But the way we are going to first sort people and get this information from you is by looking at the filing status. So this is the checkbox I said. If you check this box that's circled, married, filing jointly, that's a yes to that question. Do you file your taxes jointly with your spouse? If you check any of the rest of these boxes, it's a no. Okay. Then the other question on that is number of dependents. So that is literally counting. There's no place you put the number. You count how many people you've listed here. You may use that number when you're looking at your deductions and stuff, but you count the number here. If, I think this only has space for 4, if you have 7 children that you report on your taxes, make sure you submit that extra sheet where you put the other 3 children. Okay, so we can verify when you say you have 7 dependents, that we can verify that we have the right number. So yes, if you submit an additional sheet, include that also. Okay. And then here's the adjusted gross income. Everybody should have a 1040 that they submit, and it's this line. It's line 11, adjusted gross income. And make sure you use the AGI from the tax year you are submitting. Just quickly, this is the Schedule C. I don't have a screenshot of Schedule K1, but if you file K1 business taxes, you should know what the K1 is. And so that, instead of submitting the Schedule C, you'll submit the K1. But this is where we're really looking. We're looking at verifying that you are the owner. And in the K1, it will show the ownership of the business. So we need to verify that you are the owner of the business. Okay, that's basically it on the application. I did want to show you guys this chart. So you know this is the 2024 chart. So this would be what we use for 2023 tax returns. The chart for 2023, which we would use for 2022 tax returns, is slightly lower, but not much. So this basically gives you an idea. And if you want to find, here's where it comes from. It's HUD. This is all HUD data from the national government, federal government. So that's what we're using. And that is what OEdit also uses. So if you needed to see the 2023, you can find that there also. But yes, so basically what's going to happen is you'll find yourself and how many people you have in your household. And we will use, so if you are a 4-person house making 30,000, you are in the extremely low income bucket. If you are a 4-person house making 40,000, you're between this number and this number. That means you're in the very low income bucket. This last low income table is what is the cutoff for eligibility as a low income person. When I mentioned low income was enough to be eligible for this grant, that means you have to be below these cutoffs. But when we are distributing the grant, we're going to be looking at these buckets separately. So all the people who first applied that are in this bucket will get the first round grant and then we'll go on to this bucket and then into the low income bucket until all the grants are dispersed. If you do not fit into this, if you are not low income or above, but you fit one of the other eligibility criteria, you are more than welcome to still apply, but just understand it's a very simple application process. It probably isn't much for you, but do understand that your likelihood of receiving a grant, if you are not below this level, is very low. And it gets higher and higher the more, if you're in this bucket and you apply very early on Wednesday, you have a very high chance of getting the grant. Before I open it up to questions, let me also just say, here's our email. This email is being monitored pretty carefully and we're getting back to people. We say within 24 hours, but as long as it's a work day during work hours, it's usually an hour or 2. This phone number is a specific grant phone number, and that is being staffed also. If you may leave a voicemail, if we've stepped away or on the phone with someone else, and we are getting back to those voicemails. So if you leave a voicemail, we will get back to you. with that grant. Hopefully you won't have to, but people step away for the bathroom or something. But so you can make sure, reach out to either one of these two um, with additional questions. We also are giving a lot of other supports. We have the registration and certificate of good standing seminar later today at 3, which that you can find that on our website. And then we also have a whole list of times where we're providing in-office, in-person application support. So starting in the days going up to the application, you can come in. It's walk-in, first come, first serve. You can come in starting on Friday morning, this Friday morning. We also have a little bit of help on Wednesday afternoon today if you need help on registering. But starting this Friday morning through to next Wednesday when the grant opens, we will be giving in-person one-on-one support on a walk-in basis. On Wednesday, when the grant opens, we will be if you think you need help or don't have access to internet or don't know how to do this, you can come into the office. We will have all of our staff helping people submit applications. We only have a staff of about 15 and a few extra Chromebooks. So if you are able to do this on your own, I would recommend doing that because they will be first come, first serve, and we'll be starting right at 10. So we will only be able to support about 20 people at a time for that. But you are welcome to come in, and I would recommend coming in. The office will open at 8:30. So I would recommend if you need help on Wednesday morning to come in between 8:30 and 9 so you can be in line to be the first round of people being helped. And yes, so I know one question, Juan, was about, somebody had a question that I said I would answer about, is our system ready to support all of this? Should I answer that question, or is there another question I should start with? That we should start with?
Kamiki, Jessica is asking, can I qualify if I don't have any workers?
Yes.
So about that, I think it's important that if you had expenses on your business or maybe consultants or externals, that's fine as long as you reported that on your 2022 or 2023 tax returns. Something really important is you don't need to generate income in order to file your taxes. You can still report your expenses, and we will be able to see a Schedule C or a Schedule K1. So it doesn't mean just because you didn't generate a revenue or sales or whatever your business doesn't mean you shouldn't be filing your taxes, right? So I want to let people know with that.
Yeah, we are trying to make this, I know that if you started up this year, you're not eligible, but we are trying to make this as eligible for startups as possible. So folks that were in that planning phase and did have those expenses are eligible. Yeah, that's a good question. Let me also address the question on are we sure our system is ready to support the number of applicants at 10 a.m.? We are working as diligently as we can to make sure that it is. This is something that this is not a normal thing for us. It was including having the simultaneous interpreters. We don't do this sort of thing. We're doing as much as we can to make this work on a one-time basis because this is not what we do normally. So we are working as much as possible to make sure our system is ready. We will have notifications on the website with alternative methods if for some unforeseen reason that something does happen, does crash and go down. We'll have alternative forms and alternative ways or we may actually, if it just stops, we will shut it down to be fair for everyone, so that we don't give so we don't give unfair advantages for folks who, if some people are able to access and some aren't. So yes, we are trying to do what we can. Again, this is a very unusual program for us, so there's only so much that we can do that's outside the infrastructure we have normally. So we appreciate everybody, but we didn't want to let that stop us from offering this opportunity. We thought it was really important to still do that, even even if it's kind of a little bit of a struggle to make sure we get everything moving together, but we're trying our best. So I appreciate that question, and do look at our website, and you will get if again, access our website, and we will send out emails. Make sure you're on our email list in case. We're doing, again, trying to make sure we have every way possible to avoid that situation, but we have some limitations of how we can do that. More questions, Juan?
Yes, Mickey. Vivian asks us, what happens when you file your taxes but do not say the name of the business on your taxes but have good standing with the state?
Do you want me? I'll clarify this. So,
yeah.
If is that actually? So there's a couple scenarios. One is you just haven't registered it yet, and that is blank on your tax returns. If you haven't registered it yet, and the business name is blank on the Schedule C, as long as your registration is this year and do file it under your name. You don't necessarily technically have to file it with yourself, but it will make it a lot clearer so we can connect. If we don't see you as the person who filed, we can't connect it. For those, if you filed your taxes and were registered but just failed to include the name, that's a little bit trickier. We can, because we do need to verify. If there's any way you can provide us other proof that you're own the business, please do. We can consider that. And this would be one of those. So that's if you've registered last year and you just forgot to put the name when you filed your taxes. As long as it's blank, it doesn't conflict. It's possible that we can consider that. This would be one of those few cases where I might use that little open space and see if there's any other way we can verify your ownership. Yeah, if it's for folks who are registering new, that's okay. If it's a new registration and there was no name in the business line, if you're filing new but you had put a business name, make sure your business name matches what you have on your tax returns. And if anybody wants to come off mute, they can also come off mute. We're trying to monitor. I've stopped monitoring the chat. It got a little away from me, so I don't know when I was presenting.
Hi, y'all. I have a quick question. This is Rachel, and I changed my business's name last year, but instead of just undoing everything, I just did a DBA. So my taxes are still under the major umbrella company, and then other materials are under the new name. What kind of confusion could this cause? And
you still have it registered. You should still have the old one registered, and make sure that's in good standing, and that's all we need.
Yep, that's it. And I even registered the DBA.
Perfect. We just need the one on your taxes. We'll just look at that. We
Great.
understand that people do that often. Just make sure if you have a situation like Rachel is talking about, make sure the parent one on your taxes is in good standing also. And make sure it's a business in good standing. Trade name in good standing does not count. It needs to be the registered as a sole proprietor LLC, something along those lines, or corporation or whatever. Ana Lopez? Yes.
Hi, Mickey. I just have a quick question. So I filed married jointly. My husband has his own business. I have my own business, but I'm applying for a grant. Even though if our income AGI is a little higher than the standard, would my business be considered? My business income?
Not if you file it jointly. We're going to be just looking at your household income.
So that if it puts me above the threshold for dependents, then I'm not eligible?
You're eligible if you are an immigrant or minority of some kind. You're eligible, but to be honest, you're not that likely to receive it. So, but go ahead and submit. I mean, it's not. We did again. This is fairly simple. So, there's no harm in applying because it's not going to take very much time. It's not. But yeah, just be aware that you're probably not very likely.
Okay, just want to make sure. Thank you.
Sure. I see other people. If you have
Ms. O'Neill,
yes.
I filed my business taxes and my personal taxes. Will it be okay if I send all the information and not pick through it?
Yep, that's fine. Right, Juan, we assume a lot of times people just have one PDF like that they file, like that their accountant or somebody does. That's fine.
Yeah, Rachel, you can submit, both documents or just one PDF. But I just want to make clear that we won't be looking at business returns. Just Form 1040, which is a U.S. individual income tax return, Schedule C, which is part of that Form 1040 as well. Now, if you are going to be submitting a Schedule K1, that is part of your business tax returns, right? So it depends on your condition. You want to just send the whole thing, you can just do it. But normally we wouldn't be even looking at your business tax returns.
Thank you.
Well, you would do the grant. But
Is that what, Teak? I can't hear you. You're going in and out. I know you
Oh,
asked, if you're asking this question, your previous technical assistance, the small technical assistance grants you've gotten from us before, if this is applicable to anybody, that has no bearing whatsoever on this. So you're still eligible if you meet the other requirements. Good, I'm glad that was it, because it sounded like you're in a spotty place, so I'm glad you could hear. Please, guys, it's very hard to know exactly who's, for me, with all of this grid video, or seeing everybody. If you have your hand raised, you can come off mute. And
Hi, Miki. Joseph. Can you hear me?
yes, sorry, there's two people. Yes, one of the, you can go first and then the next.
Okay, thank you so much. So, yeah, two questions. The first one, are you going to send the recording videos for the Zoom today to all of us?
It may not come today, it may come tomorrow, but you'll get it, yes.
Okay. Sounds great. And second question, I think Juan already mentioned that for the tax return, can we send the W-2 beside of the whole tax application, or it has to be specific for
has to be the 1040?
1040 and plus C, right?
Yep. We do not need your W-2, and W-2 was not sufficient because that doesn't necessarily show all of your email or all of your income. Yeah.
I meant W-9, sorry.
Oh, W-9. Do not worry about the W-9 until and unless you get selected. So that was just to give you a heads up of what we will be asking after you get selected. So thank you for clarifying. The W-9, you will not need to submit. You do not need to have that ready at 10 a.m. Just know that if you are initially selected, we verified all your information, you're in line, we will give you, I believe 10 days to get everything into us. So you should be ready. But if you don't get everything into us, like the grant agreement, etc., then you could lose out on the grant. But yes, so the W-9 will only come then.
Okay, and if I already join as a jointly married, do I need to send all the application for the tax return? Then you're gonna be able to see all the information.
If whichever, as long as we can see the 1040, the 2-page 1040 and the Schedule C or Schedule K, that's all you need to. But if it's easier for you to just send us everything that you already have in one document, that's fine.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, there was another person that had let's go back to the person.
I have a few questions, but they're kind of personal about my taxes. Is it better to call, or do you want me to?
Yes, why don't you call, unless you can ask me now, but if it's something you'd rather not.
One that is not too personal is I filed for my business and registered my business on December 31st. I didn't start business until January. So my taxes from last year, it's only my personal taxes. I worked as a CNA.
Unfortunately, I don't think that you'll qualify. I'm sorry about that. So
you have to be in business before the 31st?
Yeah. You need to have operations that you can, at least expenses that you showed there. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay, because I needed it for equipment, but okay.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Can I?
Yes, ma'am.
Quick
Hello?
question.
Yep.
Oh,
Oh, sorry,
Yes.
there's someone ahead of me. Okay, no worries. You go ahead.
okay, it's a really fast one, kind of. So when you're looking at the income for personal and you're looking at that schedule for the business, are you gonna be, even if someone is just over the AGI, are you looking at how much of that is the business? Because the grant can really help people, start to rely on their business more. So like, it looks like you're shaking your head. So you're not
Unfortunately,
looking at the
no. I
proportion.
mean, I think I understand. Let me just say there is way more need. 71 grants is not nothing, and it ends up hitting, almost $400,000. But it is there's definitely more need out there than we're going to be able to meet. And I know that there's a lot of folks who would benefit from the grant that unfortunately won't be able to get it. But we've had to make kind of just some basic objective cutoffs that we can use. So yeah, I do understand where you're coming from, but unfortunately, there's going to be people who I wish we would be able to give the grant to, which we're just not going to be able to.
I have a quick question.
Yes, and there was also
Can
a
you hear me?
gentleman earlier, but yes, why don't you
Okay,
ask
go ahead.
yours and then I'll make sure we get back to the other person.
Okay. What if your business is in different state?
No, it does need to operate primarily in Colorado.
Okay, thanks.
This is
Yeah,
funded by the
Melai,
state of Colorado.
exactly. This is funded by the Secretary of State of Colorado by OEDIT, so that means all businesses must be registered here in Colorado.
Got it. Thanks.
And the other gentleman who,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Actually, my question was about if my business has loan with SETS Finance or any other financial institution, is this going to affect the application? And
No.
also about the
it will
credit,
not help or hurt you. It will not be a factor.
it's not going to be a factor, even the credit situation, like credit score wise and so on?
Nope.
Okay, that's it. Thank you, ma'am.
Sure. We are at 1. We can continue to answer a few questions if people have them. And we'll continue the recording as long as there's a few more questions.
Hold on. Rachel is asking, the DBA is different than the business name. Is that a problem?
Submit the business name or submit whatever is matched on your, whatever matched on your taxes. But if you do submit on the taxes, you put the DBA, which you shouldn't. But if you do that, then you should, I'm going to stop sharing. And somebody is asking for a link to today's, so I'm going to try and get that in a second, the later afternoon session. But sorry. Yeah, if you did submit your taxes using the DBA, I would recommend probably submitting both. Maybe putting both the DBA and the official name in that empty box down below, so we can know that. It should be, if you've used your official business name on the taxes, which is the correct way to do it, you just need to worry about the official business. If you put the DBA there, make sure both are in good standing and put that information in that box at the very end. I think that's probably the best way to do that. Oh wait, let me get this registration link.
So just to clarify, the way that the grants are going to be disbursed is first it's going to be all of the low income sections, and then if there's leftover grants after that, then it'll go to the ones that are higher income but still qualify as minority, women owned, and etc.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
And that link, I did just put the link to, if you need any help on registering or making sure you're in good standing, we'll also just go through the very easy process to verify your standing with the Secretary of State.
Hello?
You can sign up today using that link in the chat.
Kelly, yes.
Hi. Will you post this meeting link? Will you email it out on the website, the link to the recording?
So it will be posted on the website, and you'll probably receive a link. Will receive an email, and it will be posted on the website. May not be till tonight or tomorrow, but it
Perfect.
should be available within the next 24 hours.
Thank you so much. I gotta take off. Have a good day.
Thank you, Shelly.
Bye-bye.
And ma'am, sorry about that, but this form has been filled out by most of us for earlier than today, right? We did use this form.
This was the one that I think it's slightly different. It's for a different, it has a different, it has the webinar for this afternoon selected. Let me just check and make sure I sent you the right one. Thank you for clarifying, but let me make sure. Yes, it should say, let me make sure I copied the right one too. Let me make, I believe so. So it looks very similar. Yes, and it says this is the
Okay.
description. So it is slightly different. It looks the same, but it has a different title for a different event.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you should get an email automatically with the link, the Zoom link for that one. It's a slightly different Zoom link than this one. You should get an email. If you do not get if you register and you do not get an email back with that link, with the Zoom link, you can email grants. But you should have it, and it should be sent.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, man. Thank you.
Sounds like there's no more questions. Did we answer any? Is there any questions we missed in the chat? There's a lot of going on, and Juan and I were we didn't want to take up space from anybody else, so we had the two of us doing everything.
Meryl is asking, how do you address dependents if there's more than one owner?
So it has to be the majority owner that applies. So we're just looking at that one majority owner's income. It's not the business income. It's going to be based on the majority owner's income. This is also a question I saw some other places. I don't know if we haven't. There are no restrictions on the grant, and there will be no grant reporting requirements either. We really strongly suggest and recommend you use it to help your business in whatever way. That's the intention. But we will not be asking for reports. Thank you, Steph. Awesome. Again, that grants email is pretty monitored, as well as if you have a personal question that you either want to email or call. The people who are doing it may not, if it's a really specific question, they may have to get back to you. The people are monitoring it, but they're very good at doing that, and we'll get back to you ASAP. Well, thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you, ma'am. And I think now we can leave, right? The meeting?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Bye-bye.